everyone, Ariel Adams here with aBlogtoWatch. Please subscribe to our videos on YouTube and like this video if you find it useful. This is a review of the AVI-8 Flyboy AV4021-01. So basically this is the Flyboy 4021 series. There are other Flyboys, and this is a newer collection from AVI-8. AVI-8 is a newer brand that sells clearly aviation-themed timepieces at relatively affordable prices. This is a mechanical watch they have. This happens to be one of my favorite ones. Price is pretty good, and I rarely get excited about watches, I guess you could say, under the $1,000 level, unless they're like a cool G-Shock or something like that. Why do I not get excited normally about a mechanical analog watch under that price point? Because they're usually pretty underwhelming. Either the design is very generic and boring, or they're cut too many corners, or it's just derivative, or there's something just plainly wrong with it. But this one's pretty good. It has a good combination of unique characteristics, as well as just being a successful amalgamation of design features that have worked for years and years and years. Okay, so we begin with a 42mm wide steel case. The steel case is sort of aviator-ish. I mean, it's not the most unique case in the world, but it's attractive. It's got that brushed finishing all around. The crown here has some nice details. You can tell it's not the biggest aviator crown in the world, but definitely has that kind of turnip shape a little bit, and there's kind of like what seems to look like a little bit of a target kind of design there in the crown. That's a nice little touch. As you can see, there is exposed case back. So we'll just go straight to the movement here. This watch has a Japanese Miyota 8215. Yeah, I think it's 8215 automatic. Which is it's a Japanese mechanical movement you see in a lot of wristwatches. It's fine. It's not quite as good as the 9015, but it's not bad. And for a mechanical watch under $1,000, that's totally fine. The movement has the time, the date, automatic winding and hand winding. And I mention that because some people have experience with lower priced mechanical movements from Japan, especially from Seiko and Orient, know that some of the older ones just had automatic winding, that you could not manually wind them, which is kind of funny. This one with the 8215, you can do that just fine. So what I like about this watch is, first of all, the dial. I think it's very bold, easy to read, also symmetrical. And there's some design cues in here you don't normally find. So that 0 up there for the 12 o'clock indicator, you don't normally see that, the sort of crosshair motif. If you look here, an interesting detail is you see that seconds hand moving around there? Now that seconds hand is taken from a watch movement called the Lemania 5100. Well, the hand, of course, has nothing to do with the movement, but oftentimes watches with the Lemania 5100, which was a chronograph, had a central minute counter that looked like that, and those were often aviation themed. So that's an interesting homage there that you don't see all the time on seconds hand. So that's just a nice little touch. The lume is pretty good, and the black dial has kind of a texture on there. AVI-8 makes a couple different versions of the Flyboy 4021. This one I just happen to like, but there's a few other color variations. So I'm going to put the watch on in a second, but before I do that, I want to discuss this strap. Now, this is a NATO style strap, but it's produced from leather versus nylon, and I happen to like these straps a whole lot, and I'll tell you why. First of all, it's relatively thin, okay? That's a thin piece of leather. It's actually a lot thinner than most leather straps. But what that does allow for is a wearing comfort which is really unparalleled, because it really feels like it's hugging your wrist in a comfortable way, and but it never feels like it's too tight. So I'm not necessarily sure why it is, but with these types of straps, I enjoy them. Also, NATO straps have excess most of the time. Some people cut them down or things like that, but what I like about this thin leather is that it very comfortably tucks in to the little parts there, the little extra loops, and it doesn't look like it's sticking out. A lot of times you have a NATO strap, and I really dislike how there's like this giant hump right here because it folds over. You can see that even on a relatively new watch, it folds over really neatly there, so you don't have this just huge thing. Also, the bottom of it is very low profile. You just have a nice buckle with the AVI-8 signature there. It's very comfortable, so it doesn't feel like it's choking your wrist, but it's on there very, very solidly. You can see it's not too tall of a watch. It's not too big. It's not too small. I think at 42 millimeters with this specific design, it works quite well. So this strap, because it's thin, because it's leather, it will wear out eventually. You'll have to buy another one, but in my opinion, the comfort you get kind of outweighs that. Price for this watch retails for $625. Why do I emphasize on retails? Well, I don't know exactly what their business model is going to be, and you know, but I believe that this is the type of watch will be available for less. Why do I say that? Well, the retail price is on the AVI-8 website right now, but there's a link to where you will be able to buy it soon on Amazon, and you might be seeing this review a long time from now, and this is all old information, but usually that retail price is kind of like what it should be, or they want to charge, but it's often going to be a little bit less when you're able to buy it on those online retailers. That's just sort of a business model. It's not to sort of disparage the price, but I think that $620 is a little bit on the ambitious side on purpose, and so when you'll actually be able to buy these, it'll be a little bit less. That's just my theory, and AVI-8, if you're out there being irritated by this, I'm sorry. I genuinely like this watch. At $620, it's a little on the higher end to pay for it, for, in my opinion, an A215 movement, just because there's a lot of them out there that are available for less. But it is a solidly designed watch, and I like it a lot. So it's still really great at that under $1,000 mark. And I think if you are looking for a nice aviator-style mechanical watch, don't have a huge budget, this is definitely a decent piece. Again, this is the AVI-8 Flyboy AV4021-01, and you can see the full review on aBlogtoWatch soon. Thanks.